Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Pickups. This one is part 2 of September 2022. Let's get started. First up, there's these two things that you see on the screen right now. Race Driver Grid for the PS3, and then there was the camera for PS3 for 30, so 50 in total. And this camera is one I've been searching for a while because I want to try PlayStation Move, even though I've not heard great things about it. Then I found this PlayStation 2 Steelbook, which is Resident Evil 4 for 75 kroner. And I think the guy who was selling it, he obviously knew what he had with all his other games, but this one was really cheap because he didn't know the difference between the normal version and the limited edition. I don't really care for horror games like Resident Evil, so I'm going to sell this. It's in very good condition, so I think I can get a lot for it and then use that money to get something that I actually want for my collection. Next up is this Sega Game Gear. I got it for 300 plus shipping. I don't remember how much the shipping was, but it's down there in the corner. It comes with two games. The Majors Pro Baseball, which I don't care about, which is probably going to be sold for that reason. And then Sonic 2, which is currently in the unit. Everything here is in awesome condition and it looks like it has barely ever been played. But still it has some problems, because as you might know, every single Game Gear ever made has terrible capacitors inside, which leak and will damage the board. And so far it has actually done some damage to this Game Gear. This is full volume, I don't know if you can hear it. You probably couldn't. And also now you can only see the screen from this angle. If I do this, the colors are all gone. It came with this strap of some kind, and sadly I lifted the Game Gear like this. There you see Sonic 2. I lifted the Game Gear like this and I should not have trusted that strap, because I dropped it and now it has this line across the screen here on the top, and I'm really hoping I can fix it somehow, because the capacitors has not damaged this Game Gear beyond repair yet, and it's in awesome condition as I said earlier, so I'm really hoping to keep this as original as possible and not have to replace the screen or anything. Then we have all of these complete old Nintendo games, and a single loose one that I got for 1,850 kroner shipped from a collector who was selling a lot of his old stuff. Most of this stuff is things that I already have, and I will then sell my old loose copies of these games to regain some of the money. Of course not all of it. Normally I don't buy things like this for anywhere close to market value, but I had saved up a lot of money, so I got all of this. First up we have Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers on the NES. This one is missing the manual but otherwise in decent condition. I have never played this before, but I do own the cartridge. I got it in part 1 of this September episode at a retro gaming convention, but I couldn't get the cartridge to work, so I still haven't played it. But now I have one which is much better. Has an actual label on it and the box, of course. Also, this is the Scandinavian release, and the one I have which doesn't work is the French one. I live in Scandinavia, so of course I would rather have the Scandinavian release. Speaking of Scandinavian release, this is not one of them, because this is an American game. It was never released outside of America, which is why it's the American version. This was also one that I already had and one of my favorites for Super Nintendo. My loose copy was one that my mom bought for me when she was in a business trip to America. Well, I made her buy it. I paid her for it. She didn't buy it as a gift. She brought that home from America, and I never in my life have thought that I would end up with another copy of it. But here I am, and somehow I gotta sell one of those copies. And that's gonna be hard because barely anyone here have any use for American Super Nintendo games. This one is complete but has a bit of shelfware, as you can see. But the manual is there and the cartridge itself is absolutely pristine. By the way, I am going to get box protectors for all of these. I just haven't gotten them. Then here we have another one, which I already have, so I'm going to sell one of the cartridges. This is a Scandinavian release of Stunt Race FX. It has a little sticker here saying that it includes a Nintendo pin, but that pin is not in there. That would have been awesome though. Then we have Banjo-Tooie. I initially wanted Banjo-Kazooie, which he also had complete, but for some reason he found this one for me instead. But I got it for the Banjo-Kazooie price, and I'm not complaining about that because this is the more expensive game. This one alone is worth over $100. I don't think Banjo-Kazooie is even half of that. Also, this game looks like it has barely ever been touched. If you even dare to open it, you will see that everything in here is absolutely pristine. Can't even open it with one hand. Of course, has this outer box and the inlay here. Here's the cartridge, which has literally no marks on it when you take it out of the bag. There is the manual, which is absolutely flawless apart from that little thing in the corner there. Then there's this thing, whatever that is, and a poster. I'd say the biggest flaw with this copy is that there is a little rift on the inlay right here. But otherwise it's practically perfect. And actually the same thing goes for Mario Golf. This one looks absolutely pristine, but I'm not gonna take this one out. It just has some very minor things like that in the corner. Then we have Mischief Makers, which is not as good as the others, but hey, the box is there. That is also complete. By the way, these two games I already own, loose copies of, so I'm going to sell those again. And then lastly we have the opposite of a great condition. Look at how dirty this is in the grooves. But I wanted to play this and now I own it. And this is the only one which is loose in this whole lot. And that was it. As I said, I am going to get box protectors, especially for Banjo-Tooie and Mario Golf, because they are so incredibly minty. They will arrive someday. Next up we got this package, and I wanted to show the package because of how it was packaged. I paid 200 plus shipping for this. I don't remember what the shipping was, but the total will be in the corner. As you can see, it is very well packaged. No, it wasn't. It was just a box. Nothing to protect the insides. But luckily it survived. It is an original Super Nintendo Mini. I already have one of these in better condition and complete that I bought back when you could get them in retail stores. So this is going to be sold. As right now these go for like 5 times the price that I paid. I have tested it. Luckily it did survive shipping. Next up we have all of these PlayStation 1 and 2 games. And I don't remember exactly what I paid, but it's in the corner right there. First up we have Cyber Sled. These PS1 games was actually some semi-uncommon ones that is a bit expensive, but the seller didn't know. Kensei Sacred Fist, which is a fighting game, and I don't care for fighting games, but it was very cheap. This is a resale game. And then we have Nova Storm, which is a 2-disc game. I think it's similar to something like F-Zero or Wipeout. It looks cool. Anyway, moving on to the PS2 games, we have Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex, which is an upgrade for me because I have the Platinum re-release and this is the original. We also have Jak 2, one of the few Jak games which I didn't have. And Rampage is a fun looking game which I've been looking for a while. Rayman M Same thing as Jack 2. It's a Rayman game that I didn't have. Then we have The Godfather, which is the Steelbook Limited Edition. It's a bit beat up, but everything is there. It's similar to Grand Theft Auto on the PS2 also. I'm excited to give this a try. And then we have a 3D platformer, and I love 3D platformers, and I didn't have this one, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. And that was it. And the very last thing that I got in September was this stack of Wii games for 100 kroner plus shipping. The vast majority of them is going to be resale games, including this one, which is one of the few ones that isn't worth anything. Then we have Wii Sports Resort. This might be a condition upgrade, as this one is really good condition. Sports Island amazingly has some value. And then we have a lot of Just Dance games. There's 2015, 2014, 4 Special Edition, 3, 2, and the original. And then lastly, a fun Wii game which I already had, might be a condition upgrade too, The Blob. Anyway, that was it for this episode. Thank you for watching.